landmines I'm going to be talking about tonight are fear, compromise, and anger, and what they are referenced to in the Bible and how you can overcome these things. The first one I'm going to hit on is fear, and I'm reading from 2 Timothy 1:7, where it says, "For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of self-control." So, when you're going through life and God maybe calls you to a new place like he did to Moses, told him to completely pack up where he had lived his whole life and where his whole family had lived, and to move to a land he wasn't familiar with. I'm sure he was afraid, but he trusted in God. He did what God said, and it turned out changing his whole entire life, and now you read in the Bible about Moses all the time. And it's like in the midst of any trial or any storm or any problem you have, anything where you're afraid of something that God has in store for you, or you're afraid of what's going on in your life, some problem that keeps facing you. In that storm, God can give you peace beyond understanding. He can just keep you safe. You don't have to fear. You just have to trust in God and do what he says, and it'll help you. So that's a way to overcome fear. The next one I want to touch on is anger, and there's like 6 steps pretty much to overcoming anger, like in your life. Just you get angry at somebody and you treat them differently, or you just don't like a person and you treat them differently, or whatever. There's any struggle you have with anger. And the first step is in getting rid of that anger and overcoming it is face the real issues. And I'm going to read from Galatians 5, verse 13 and 14 first. And it says, "You, my brothers, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the sinful nature. Rather, serve one another in love. The entire law is summed up in one single command: love your neighbor as yourself." So, no matter how angry you can be, no matter what somebody does to you, just remember that you're supposed to love that person. So face the issue and know that God tells you to love everyone as a brother. And just love them as yourself. Even if somebody doesn't make you, even if you guys don't get along, just push through that and just treat them with godly love instead of giving them the shoulder, or just like not giving them their full attention or whatever. Don't get angry at them, just give them love. And the second step is deal with your anger. And for that, I'm turning to James chapter 1, verse 19 through 20. If I can find it, I always have trouble finding James right here. There we go. So in James 1, verse 19 and 20, it says, "My dear brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. For man's anger does not bring about the righteous life that God desires." So just face your anger. Know that it's not right to be angry, no matter what the reason is. Just know that you need to just show God's love, show God's mercy, because we're completely sinners. We mess up all the time. And if God were just a person and he was our friend, and he doesn't just get angry and ignore you or shut you out, or just completely not even talk to you. He loves you and shows that unconditional love that he has for everyone. The next step is to die to yourself and live by Christ. And for that, I'm going to read again from Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. And Galatians 2, verse 20 says, "I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. So that just reminds you, you're not of yourself. You're living through God. You need to do what God tells you to do and live through the promise that He's given you, the death on the cross. The next step is break anger's stronghold, and I'll be reading from Proverbs 14:9 for that one. Proverbs 14:9 says, "Fools mock at making amends for sin, but goodwill is found among the upright. But goodwill is found among the upright." And 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 5. If anybody else wants to look these up, they can. So there's not that awkward silence. But 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 5. It says, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, keeps no records of wrongs." So that just shows you, if you show God's love that He shows to everyone, that He wants you to share to everyone so they can see what He really is through you, you got to remember that love is not easily angered, and it keeps no records of wrong. You can't hold a grudge. You don't get angry. I mean, sure, you can learn from experiences with people, but you don't hold a grudge. You treat them with the godly love that He's given us. And so that leads us to our next step, which is replace anger with kindness. And I'll be reading from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 31. Alright, in Ephesians 4:31 says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate instead to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you." And that, I mean, it keeps going back to the same thing. Just remember that God showed love to us all whenever He died on the cross. So remember, you can't, if you want to show the true love, just, I don't know, I'm sounding repetitive, but you just need to replace that anger. I mean, sure, everybody gets angry, but you have the choice. It's a choice. It's not something that you don't have any control over. You can choose to, instead of being angry at that person, to instead just show the kindness and love that God gave us. And the last step to controlling anger is fully deal with each day's anger. I'm going to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26, and that says, "In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold." See, it says here, in your anger, do not sin. So you can be angry, but you got to control it, and you have to know, I can't treat this person differently. I need to overcome this. I need to replace that with God's love and kindness, and know that the other person or the other thing that made you angry is just something the devil is trying to get a foothold with. And it says, do not let the sun go down while you're still angry. Don't go to bed, I guess, is what it's saying. Don't let things get past you. Don't hold a grudge overnight. If something angers you, just face the situation and just don't let the devil get a foothold on you by being able to bring it up some other time down the road or the next day, and you get angry or frustrated about it.